Hello and welcome to this VR of the end of year tarot tag. Now, this is a tag that I've just found and I love the prompts, and it's by Chanel Days. I will link her original video down and I will link her in the description. And she created a end of year tarot tag that was similar to kind of the book talk tags that were going around, but for tarot. And I loved watching her video. I loved the prompts that she uses, and it really gets you in that reflective mood. So without further ado, we will get to the tag. So the first prompt was your most loved, kind of most used deck of the year. And there are many decks that I could have chosen, but I thought I'd go back to the one deck that really, I would say this year, springboarded my love for tarot and really kind of getting me into it. I started reading on TikTok at the end of December, and this was a deck I used really quite heavily within that kind of period. And yeah, I think people who'll know me will probably be able to guess, but it is My Tarot of the Abyss by Anna Torian. I am so stoked to have her new tarot. I have it now. I got it for Christmas. I've not unboxed it yet, but I'm so excited to use her other decks as well that are colour, because I love this, and this is such a much loved deck because it's black and white. I think if you've been watching kind of my videos, you'll know that I have got a thing for black and white decks. I just love them. And I think partly because my imagination is in black and white, there is a term for it. Whereas if you try to imagine something, it goes from colour and there's a scale, and like I'm in the middle where it's kind of hazy black and white. So this kind of works with my intuition, but it will tell me colours when I need to. But also the line work, the detail, the absolutely like craftsmanship and work gone into it. And the guidebook is really good as well. It's just so intuitive. It gives such good readings. And when I did my first in-person reading event, this was the deck I used all day. I did 17 readings and it was just tried and tested. I could go straight to this, and it was like putting a comfortable pair of slippers on. You could just get on and kind of go. So I love this deck so much. It is such a much loved deck in my collection. I've not been using it as much recently, just because I've had a lot of other, as you know, I prefer tarot, a lot of other tarot decks come into my collection, so I've been trying to get some use with them and love, but I will always go to this. This is my number one, and it excuse me, it's just Queen of Cups trying to escape there. It does have a few things where I kind of go, but this deck just works so well that I can kind of overlook those little things. I mean, that I always stop on the Four of Pentacles. It must be showing about a lack mindset. Yeah, I always love a Four of Pentacles. I always stop to look at the Four of Pentacles. That must be a reflection of me. Like, this world, it's just amazing. And this High Priestess, this is one of the best High Priestess cards that I've kind of got in my collection. I just love her. She's amazing. It's just such a good deck. So that is my most loved, most kind of used deck of 2025. That is the Tarot of the Abyss by Anna Torian. Yeah, you can get this mass market. The second question prompt in the tag is your most recent edition. Now, I could include the 3 decks that I got myself for Christmas from Oneness Emporium. Again, I will tag them in the comments because they're an amazing tarot seller. But I purchased a Oracle deck just after Christmas, so I'm taking this one. And I saw a video here on YouTube with somebody going through the cards. I think a, a maybe like a roundup of all their cards, and I saw this deck and I was just like, I have to have this. It's a bit like in Wayne's World where he says, you know, oh yes, this shall be mine. Oh yes. Now I've moved the camera out a little bit because of the sheer size of this box. So without further ado, I will reveal. My most recent edition is the Fairies Oracle, artwork by Brian Froud, text by Jessica Macbeth, and I love it's Jessica Macbeth. I am a bit of a Shakespeare geek, so I kind of love that little nod. I saw the video on YouTube and I was like, I've got to have this no matter what. I've got to try and get this deck. And fortunately enough for me, there was a second-hand copy, so it meant it was a lot cheaper for me to get. So I thought, it's fate, I need to get it. I need to get it now. There's a bit of bashing in the box, but apart from that, it's the cards that I'm going to use. Now, many of you might know that my favourite film in the whole wide world is Labyrinth by Jim Henson, and Brian Froud did the artwork not only for Labyrinth, but he did the artwork for The Dark Crystal as well. So it's fairies, but it's a little bit of a twist. It's a little bit of a dark fairy vibe going on there. So I had to get this deck. And I'm so excited. You can tell with the hand movement. I'm so excited that I'm going to be like pulling a fairy of the day. I've got a planner that I'm going to be putting my kind of fairy pull for the day. So all this year I am planning to use this deck as my kind of oracle of the day. Now this book is absolutely mammoth. It's hardback, such good quality book. It's like hefty, and look at all that information. There's 60 cards in this book, in this deck, so there's a lot of information to be had. So I'm really kind of really excited to be giving this a whirl. And as you know, if you know the Dark Crystal, if you know Labyrinth, it's not all cutesy wootsy fairies, which is not really my vibe anyway. The cards, I've been using this, but I haven't even cleansed it yet. That was how much I wanted to kind of get the deck and get it used and things like that. I do need to kind of do a cleansing of it, but it's just stunning. It's just so like so my vibe, your kind of 80s 90s kind of, you know, dark fairy vibe, and there's 60 cards, so it'd be interesting. There is a bit of, I'm gonna have to wait. There is a bit of nudity in this deck. I might be able to go through without getting a strike, but it's such, I mean, that, oh, I love a death card. I love a death card, and that is just, it reminds me of the Somnia Tarot, which is kind of on my list somewhere. I look at that, like that grumpy face. That's me most days. It was just such a lovely, like, it's got such a spirit to it. Oh yeah, you can see that one. It's got such a nice spirit, and it does give me those Labyrinth vibes. As I say, it's my favourite film. I'm going to watch it in January because the 40th anniversary is been released. The 40th anniversary edition is being released in cinemas. You know, the backs are just so cool. It gives me, you know, the helping hands vibe, you know, where do you want to go, up or down? It's giving me those vibes, but with faces. And as I said, the guidebook is mammoth, so I don't suppose I'll be keeping it in the box. I'll be kind of keeping it together, and that's going to be my like daily oracle pull, is going to be the fairies. The next prompt is a deck that's not your style or not your usual style, but you're vibing with it anyway. And I've got two. I've got one that's definitely not my style, and one that kind of hovers on the precipice. I bought it because it's my style, but it's a deck that I haven't really used all the way through the year of having it, but now I really love using it. Now, the first one is the Tell Me You Love Me Oracle. Now, excuse me, you can excuse it. It's very high gloss, so you can see me. You see me recording there. Now, this, I have to be careful with this because it does have, like, it's so not my style. I don't mind collage decks, but what I don't really vibe with is this kind of older kind of, unless it's gothic, unless it's kind of creepy, spooky, dark, you know. I don't kind of like the old kind of found art vibe, but I think I can handle with that one. There's just something about this that really works well. I do use this in love readings. I use this in self-love readings as well, and it's really good. I use this as a general card pull as well when I'm doing one cards on TikTok. It's such a good all-rounder, and it really does. It's got a bit of a blunt acid tongue behind it. It will literally call you out where you need to be. But I'm not really a fan of kind of found art and collages and lots of flowers. I'm not very kind of old girly girl, but I just love this. I'm just being conscious that there is some nudity in this deck, so I've got to be very careful of what cards I can and I can't show. I mean, I can probably show that. I mean, that's a beautiful image. I love that because it's got the creep vibes to it. But yeah, and I don't know whether it's because it's been updated in terms of it having things like tattoos on them and everything like that. I think because it's got that little bit of an update, it's got the tattoos on. I think that's where it's kind of scratched the itch. I'm just having to take out the cards that are, but it's such a pretty deck, and I'm not really one for like a pretty but it does work really well. I'm actually quite surprised how many cards there are that I can show. So it was an indie, I think, and then it became mass market from Rockpool. Love this with, like, obviously the little crow. If you know, you know. And it doesn't usually, you know, fit into my style of things, but it does really work. And I do love using this. As I say, I'm not a fan of kind of found art or kind of public domain art being smushed together in a collagey type of way, but I really do love this. This is the front cover image. So this is the Tell Me You Love Me Oracle, and it's by Rockpool. Again, I will link it in. Now, the other deck that I would say it's kind of my style, but not, and I got this at the end of 2024. I got this as a Christmas present. Again, shiny. Doesn't do well when you're reading on TikTok because it does show kind of the reflection and things like that. You have to be careful. I spent a lot of the year reading cards on TikTok, and this was a deck I couldn't use because of the shiny kind of glare with it. But for me personally, I've started using it in the past 2 weeks, and I've loved working with it. And the style, while it kind of is mine and it kind of isn't, This is, if you've not worked it out from the backs, I know the backs are quite hard to work out. This is the Heaven and Earth Tarot. Now, I think this is so hard to read. I love that they've put the symbols on. I've started looking up the astrological associations. Again, it's got that medieval feel. I don't really go in for things like medieval decks. I go more with historical decks that kind of more Celtic or kind of pagan in their leanings rather than the kind of traditional medieval. I don't even own, and this is probably something that I'll get lambasted in the comments for. I don't own a Tarot de Marseille yet, because I don't really vibe with the artwork, therefore why should I have it in my collection? But so I kind of got this and I thought, yeah, it does have kind of my vibe, but it's a bit different. And I've really enjoyed doing, you know, daily pulls with this in the past 2 weeks. So this is one that's really, really surprised me. Got to be careful of the images. Like, it does have that dreamlike state to it. I do love this death card. It does have that dreamlike state to it, but again, it's very shiny. It's hard to read with others when you're trying to kind of hold them up to a screen. As you can see, you can have to do quick. You can see my reflection in the background. I don't have a fancy, like, I do have a ring light, but I don't have a stand for it, so there's no way that I can kind of angle anything or do the lights. I'm just recording with my phone. But yeah, I mean, that tower's amazing. Gotta love a tower card. If you know, that's been my card of the year. I'll get onto that later. But all the imagery from the Rider-Waite-Smith is there. So it's really easy in terms of Rider-Waite. If you know a lot about Rider-Waite-Smith, it's really easy to read with. As I said, the gripe is that it's shiny and, you know, I like the imagery. I do like the imagery. It's just because it's shiny that I've tended not to use it. So I've been using it for myself. So that is the Heaven and Earth Tarot. It's a tarot that I kind of didn't vibe with at first, but now I'm loving. Next prompt is the fave deck pairings. You'll have to excuse me, I've put my light on because the light is starting to fade here. We're in the north, so it's dark extremely early. So yeah, the lighting changed there. So this is my favorite deck pairing, and I've got quite a few deck pairings that I really liked. I really liked the Tell Me You Love Me and the Love Tarot, the Goddess of Love Tarot together. I also liked using the Witches Tarot the Witches Oracle with the Green Witch. But I've gone to an old favourite again. We can't have a video without Dave. So my first deck pairing is, my fave deck pairing of the year is the Deviant Moon Tarot and the Deep, Dark and Dangerous Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. The Devious Moon, most of you know, is Patrick Valenza, and I do have his Triumph de Luna in my little Christmas stash. So I use this, and it's upside down. I use this combination for my Hidden Depths reading. So the Hidden Depths reading is kind of, it's a little bit shadow worky, but not fully. It looks at like what is underneath. What are the things that are underneath? And while the artwork doesn't really mesh well together, because we've got this very hand-drawn cartoon kind of way with the photography, the actual messages and the combination of it, I mean, look at that, the Hermit and Harpy Chaos, like them two together, you know, you're hiding from the chaos, you're hiding from the tower moment, like together they just seem to bounce off each other really, really well. Acceptance, yeah, and you've got the Four of Cups there with acceptance. seven of swords with depth and shadow. What am I moving away from? Where's the shadow work? Things like that. It does really, really work well together. They just tend to bounce off each other really, really well. So this is the Deviant Moon Tarot, the Wheel of Fortune and Valkyrie. I love that pairing. This is the image. This is the image I most commonly see when Freya comes in to, you know, usually give me a stern kick up the derriere to get going and get moving. There, but yeah, with the Wheel of Fortune, Guardian. Yeah, they just work well together. I mean, I love that, the way that they're looking at each other there, and both like seem to be snarling. That is just, you don't have to have the kind of same art vibe or the same style for a deck pair to work. These shouldn't work well together, but they just do. They've just got that kind of, and I think some of it is because I don't have a lot of decks to kind of pair around. So I'm thinking, well, what job does my Deviant Moon Tarot do, and what job does my Oracle, the Deep, Dark and Dangerous Oracle do? They do the same thing, so they can be paired together regardless of kind of the artwork. Guardians of the Night. Yeah. So this is the Deviant Moon Tarot with the Deep, Dark and Dangerous Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. So the next prompt is divination accessories. So this is anything that can be used with divination. Now, I'm a candle person, so I've had a lot of candles this year, and I've now started going into making my own candles and reusing the wax, because I was finding there was loads of wax there and it wasn't being used. So I had a massive black candle that only like burned a third of the wax that was there in the candles. So I chopped it up and I made other candles with it. Now there is one here that I've got burning, which I've just used an old candle holder and kind of done, and then put essential oils in there for the desired effect. I am collecting a lot of wax, so I've got a big pot here with a lot of wax. That's all to kind of go in to make new candles. I do have the wicks, and yeah, so one of my main things has been candles. Another one has been oils, and using oils in like my divination and getting ready. And one of the main ones that I've used this year is this Veil of Hecate perfume oil, and this is from Moonchild Emporium, I believe, and this is really, really reasonable. This whole bottle has lasted me the whole year, and I love the smell. It's gorgeous, it lasts really long, and I've used it when working with Hecate a lot, and as you like, I've used it all up, and it is just beautiful. It's just a beautiful smell. It's really earthy I'm not keen on earthy kind of your more woody scents. I'm very much a fruity person. I like my fruit. I like my freshness. I don't like a lot of flowers. So this was earthy and fresh because it's got the peppermint in there without being too overly kind of strong. And I loved using this. I also have a divination oil by the same person as well, and I will link them down below, their site. And again, that was really, really reasonable, and that has lasted me, like, I've been using it all year, been using it quite a lot, I've still got loads of that left. I've used this with kind of candles and everything. That's why and spells. That's why it's kind of gone down more. But the rollerball is really, really good, and it smells beautiful. It's like lemon sherbet smell. That's the only way I can describe it, and it is amazing. And it's absolutely beautiful. If you don't have the time to make your own oils, definitely give Me and Child Emporium a look, because they're very, very reasonable there. I have started making my own oils. So this is my protection oil that I've got. So that had been standing and charging, and it's now like ready to use. And I'm really kind of, this year is going to be more about learning how to infuse ingredients myself and do more of my own witchcraft and making things. I'm really, really excited about that. And that's all started from making my own salt scrubs for purification. Like, again, psychic cleansing is just as important as your daily, face washing and things like that. And I've got a salt scrub that I make myself that I use kind of within my practice to kind of cleanse all that energy away. The other thing that I've really, really enjoyed is incense. Now, this is my favorite one. So this is the Look Incense by Stanford, and I love it so much. I've bought a whole massive pack of 6 of these. This is I think it's aloe vera in the scent. It smells incensey without being too like musty. Again, I've got a strong nose. I'm not as keen on, and I burnt some amber incense the other day, and I'm like, oh, that's a bit woody. It's a bit too like deep and rich. Kind of when I need a bit of a clearing, I'll go to this. So I think this has got aloe vera in it. It definitely has kind of got a very, very fresh smell about it. So I use that incense all the time, but I do have others. I'm experimenting with dragon's blood at the moment, and as I said, amber and patchouli, and ones that are a bit deeper that can be used with other with deities and that. So I have incense to match the deities I'm working with. So I had patchouli on yesterday when I was working with Hecate. Then the final one is my tarot bags, and this is coming up a lot more orange than on camera, than in real life. This is like a red. These I make myself. This is one for myself, so I don't have a popper on. This was one I made and put a popper on and then didn't give it away. But yeah, I knit. These are knitted. Knit my own tarot bags or crochet. This is my crochet. Crochet my own tarot bags. So I have a few duplicates in terms of bags, but eventually I want to be at the point where most of my tarot decks that I use regularly are in a bag. I know that this is the Deep, Dark and Dangerous because this is the large one with this pattern. I do have another red and black because I love, my inner goth. This is for my Gothic tarot. So I know that this is always in this bag. I know that my Joker tarot is in a rainbow bag. I know the Deviant Moon is in a rainbow bag. So I can kind of narrow it down from there. This is special. This is for don't know if you can see the sparkle, but this is grey sparkly wool, and this is my Labyrinth tarot. So he will always be in a grey sparkly kind of owl like bag. Yeah, so I've been loving doing the bags and using the oils and being a bit crafty in my practice. I have always been a crafty person. I've always been arty. I used to do like lots of art journaling, card making, everything. I've tried most hobbies. Neurodivergent brain. I've had been gardening, I've been cooking, I've been doing everything. So I'm always wanting to kind of create and do things. So now at the moment it's making things like oils and bags and stuff that can complement my practice. The next prompt in the tag is the best tarot backs. Now there's quite a few that could be contenders. The Tarot of the Abyss has got a beautiful back to it, the Raven's Dream, but I chose the one where I was like, oh my god, I love that tarot back. It's absolutely amazing, and it might be a tarot that is very divisive for me, but I love the backs. It's the one thing that I'm like, would not change. I would not change the back to these, and that is the Wicked Tarot. Now I've got a flip through of this and a review, and if you go and see, I'm not gushing over this deck, even though I love Wicked. I'm a fan of the musical. It's my top musical. I love the film. I think the tarot deck, there's a few things it fell short on, but the backs are absolutely just stunning. Yeah, the backs are stunning, and the actual artwork and this gold gilding is amazing as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful tarot deck. It could kind of rival and go into my most beautiful tarot deck of the year, because this artwork is just so evocative of the film. It's so good. I disagree with some of the choices in terms of the cards and kind of some of the images that have been used, where you're scratching your head and you're going, and then the guidebook doesn't really give you a lot. That was my gripe with this deck. I have been using this over the December period, and I've got to say this has been really hit or miss in terms of the readings. Sometimes it's absolutely bang on, and other times it's absolutely like, I'm like, no, I don't see any resonance to this. It's a very, very strange deck, and I kind of feel like I need to kind of get to know it more. I don't know whether it's my energy around the deck that's kind of making it off, but it's just a very, very strange one to read. But the decks are beautiful, the backs are beautiful, the cards are beautiful. I will not be getting rid of this out of my collection. Like this one, how is this the Three of Swords? I just don't understand. Like, it's not a deck where you can pick it up and you can instantly, and I know the musical well. I've watched the film. It kind of, you have to either know the film inside out, back to front, to kind of access these images. It just doesn't, it just leaves me a bit like scratching my head, and maybe I do need to use it more, and I have been using it more. But yeah, so great backs. Not sure about how I can kind of read it, because another one is, if I'm struggling to read with this for myself, I'm going to struggle reading with this on, when I do live readings or when I do paid readings. It's kind of not flowing the intuition kind of in the right direction. So it's something that's going to be sat and not used. I had the same with the Marvel Tarot. The Marvel Tarot I bought just as a vanity deck, that I've got it because I'm a Marvel fan, and it's there. I cannot vibe with some of the choices that have been kind of made, or I can't see the choices that have been made and why they've made them. So it doesn't immediately, it's kind of makes the reading hard. So I probably won't be using this unless it's kind of requested, and then I'd be, digging into the guidebook for it. But But yeah, it's such a shame. It's a bit of a, it should be, you know, I know we're doing positivity, but we could have, you know, a tag going most disappointing deck of the year. That's this one. But it has got an absolutely amazing back to it. Again, I'll probably get lambasted in the comments for that choice. Now the next prompt is the deck theme. So the kind of deck that you've loved the theme, and immediately when I saw this deck on a live, my mentor was using it, I was like, I love that artwork, I've got to get that. So I love the theme to it. Again, there are a few gripes with this one, so this is the bag for it. This is my Solitary Witch Oracle by Lucy Cavendish. Now, this theme and the artwork is absolutely stunning. It's such my kind of style. It's whimsical without being too cutesy. It's just got a lovely kind of theme to it. Now, my gripes with this is not so much, I think the titles are a bit confusing if you're trying to read it intuitively. So you have to use the guidebook with this one. And I don't mind that. I don't mind having this as a deck where I will not kind of use this in client readings. I will use this for myself, and I've pulled some today. And the write-up is kind of a little bit sometimes wishy-washy, but the main gripe, and I'm probably coming across a bit negative with this, but my main gripe with this deck is it's huge. Like, if I got the, that's the, oh well, that's just revealed something to me, because oh no, the backs are, see, that is your standard, I think your standard tarot size, and that is your so this is the size of the full box from the Wicked Tarot. It's just too big. It's so big. And I mean, I watched a video where you know, the creator was going on about hating the fact that some people have tiny hands, have like dainty small hands. I'm sorry, I have tiny dainty small hands. I also struggle with a dynamic disability, so sometimes my hands are like not good for shuffling, and especially if I really have to stretch my hands out for that, I tend to kind of overhand shuffle more. But again, I'm a shuffler that relies on jumpers. I like picking the jumping cards out of the deck, and this is just too big. It's too big for my hands. If you've got like large hands, this is a deck for you. If you've got tiny hands, maybe have a second thought. And I did think about cutting these borders off. The TikTok community were like horrified and going, no, you can't do it. And I'm like, but if I'm gonna, and again, I think I got this deck secondhand. I try not to buy my decks just because of like usage and, you know, considering the environment and cost as well. I try to see if I can get them, you know, used, and then I cleanse them and work with them. This is a used deck when I bought it, so I'm not really over precious about kind of not doing a good job of it. I would actually possibly take the bottom off as well, take the bottom and a bit of the top to just make them smaller. But apart from that, it is a lovely deck. Like, look at that image. It's beautiful. I love this theme. I think it's just magical. It's dark without being too dark. It's just such a nice deck. It's a shame about how big the blinking cards are, because I can't shuffle them. If they came out with a mini version and maybe got rid of the borders, I would be snapping it up in a heartbeat, and then I'd be relocating. Or maybe I could use these as artwork. I mean, they are absolutely stunning pieces of artwork within themselves. So this is the Solitary Witch Oracle. So this is the deck that I love the theming of. But again, it wouldn't be one of my videos without a bit of a gripe. It is, look, it's even hard that way. Like there's a... it's hard to do jumpers. It's kind of a bit of a cumbersome one if you've got small diddy hands like me. I'm sorry to the people who have bigger hands. I'm not using it as a boast, because it is really annoying. I can't get lids off. I can't get lids off pickle jars. I've got no hand strength whatsoever. So I really kind of struggle with my hands, and big decks are a bit of a no-no, and that's kind of why, because even then, just holding that, my hands are starting to hurt. Yeah, gilding is another one that I struggle with a bit as well, because it kind of gets into my hands. Now, the next one, I'm going to do two on this one just because I can. The next one, I love this theme. This is the Seasons of the Witch Winter Tarot. I've featured it so many times. It's got this beautiful blue gilding. I don't like the fact that they've put, you know, the winter wheel and all like that, but I understand why they're doing it, because this deck is going to be, the idea is you can make magpie decks, so you can mix them all up and things like that. That's why I think, you know, when the spring, the summer and the autumn comes out, you can kind of mix it. But I do love this theme because there are not many winter decks. There are Christmas decks. There is the Yuletide deck, which is very Christmassy again. I know it's got the Yule leaning, but there are very few like proper winter decks that honor kind of the winter. You've got loads to do with autumn, like autumn colors, autumn vibes, loads that will suit spring and summer. You know, you've got with autumn, you've got Halloween decks and everything. I've got loads of them, but I don't have a lot of winter decks, so I really appreciate that this deck is themed to winter, and I'm so glad that Tam Tam bought this for me. I appreciate you, because this was a gift from a very loving friend. And yeah, I just love this. I love it. It's a deck theme I can go along with. The cards are good shuffle. It's really, really good. So that is another deck theme that I love. The winter tarot. I like that whimsical without being too cutesy. Next on the prompts is my most beautiful deck of the year. This is without a doubt my favorite most beautiful deck ever, and it's in my top 10 beautiful decks. This is the Raven's Dream Tarot, and I love MJ Cullinane's artwork. This is just the most beautiful. This sings to my heart. I love this. It's a cherished deck in my collection. It's one well, it's the only indie deck I've had in 2025, and it's beautiful, and I would love, you know, the mass market to pick it up so I could get a backup, because this is so precious. I love this. I love reading with it. It is a bit big, again, dainty hands, but the way it is quite, because the cards are springy, it's quite easy to shuffle. So it's not too hard of a shuffle. But this is just beautiful artwork, and you know I love crows and ravens, so I have been looking at the Coastal Crow Tarot as well. I'm so desperate to buy it. It might be that I have to get it with my birthday money. See, I don't like wasps. So, you know, it's this 10 of Wands, it's very, very apt. This is so beautiful. It's such a beautiful deck. I don't think there'll be many decks that will take it out of the top spot. Maybe, you know, Tower of the Abyss. I do love that as well. The new Anatorian deck, I can't remember the name. I'm getting brain fog at the moment. Might kind of come to it. But this is such a coveted deck of mine. I love it. I'm so glad I bought it. There was a bit of a struggle getting it to me, but it is such a magical deck, and I love using this. Again, it's very comfort. I get very good messages from it, and it's a really good reader. It's very good reader for other people, you know, for clients and things like that. It's such a lovely deck, and it would be nice to, I think she does a smaller size as well, but I just got the standard size for now, because again, I can't afford the cost that the shipping has over from the US to here. So it's, you know, if somebody was to carry it and to carry MJ's decks in a British UK store, I would be running there like going, take my money. I'd be using my savings to get the kind of all the decks, because I do love her work and I do like supporting her. I like the Unfinished Business, like the idea of that one. Haven't really twigged with the Foxana one, but anything with the Crows and Ravens I'm getting by her, and then any other. I don't like the Magpie deck because that's my neurodivergence won't let me have, you know, not have a running theme throughout it. So it's because it's a mismatch of all different decks. I can't, my brain won't handle it. But yeah. So this is the Raven's Dream. You've seen it many times on the channel, as well as the Tarot of the Abyss. So the next prompt is the kind of wish list unicorn deck prompt, which is if you could wish up a tarot deck, what would it be? Or an out of print or hard to get tarot deck that you want in your collection. Now I've chosen for both, basically, because I like choosing for all of these things. So the deck that I wish was created is a Bill and Ted or Keanu tarot. Now I know, I'm aware you all might be shouting at me that we've got the Keanu Oracle. I love this. I use this at the end of my lives, and it's such a nice little, gentle, and you get to see Keanu Reeves. But I would love a full tarot deck of his life, his movies, everything, that kind of encapsulates his career and him being, he's such a nice guy and he's such an amazing, and he's had such a tragic life and upbringing that would be an epic tarot deck that I would be running. Take my money, please take my money. Either that or a Bill and Ted tarot. Out of all the films that you could say Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah, I love it. But I think over Bram Stoker's Dracula or, you could have The Matrix. There's lots of films you could have tarot decks for that have got Keanu. I would pick Bill and Ted because that's where it all started for me. So there's our Ted. And I think, again, it would be a lovely thing for Insight Editions to do, like a really cute kind of Bill and Ted kind of, again, it would be a very I think, inner child deck, because it's got that playful vibe to it. So, they could have the Iron Maiden, for example, as the um 10 of swords, when he says put them in the Iron Maiden type thing. I can almost envisage bits of the film there. So I do wish that, because this is great, but it's only got a little bit on it, and it's a small deck. I would love a full-size Keanu Reeves tarot deck, or a Bill and Ted kind of pop culture deck where it's fully illustrated. I think the film has got so much. You take the people in history like Joan of Arc, Socrates, Beef Oven. Yeah, I know it's Beethoven. You can kind of get everything you'd need, and more kind of from the film. So yeah, I would love a Keanu Reeves tarot, just because I would read with it all the time. The next one is the out of print deck that you really, really want. And there's only one for me. Because if I was that desperate for a indie deck and say the postage is too bad, I would try and save up the money and get the money and get it. So at the moment, there are not a lot of decks where I think sometimes the price does put me off. If it's £80 for a tarot deck, I'm like, no way, I'm not buying it. Because again, even with the Raven's Dream Tarot, I don't know where it is, even with the Raven's Dream Tarot, that was your standard tarot kind of price, well, the upper end of but it had £5 worth of shipping on. So this is such a kind of, I'm so delicate with this, and I have dinged one of the cards, like I'm so delicate. It should be edged in that blue. That'd be nice. I'm so like, I won't spend a lot of money on a tarot deck. So it's got to be an out of print one, and the out of print deck that I would want in my collection, hands down, and I had the opportunity to get it, and I should have clicked the buy it now on the eBay. I've learnt my lesson. Don't go and offer a price, because somebody's going to come in and swoop in and get it. Is the Tarot of Vampires by Ian Daniels. I don't know what it is about this deck, because it's not even, I love vampires, I love dark stuff, I love everything. And I was looking at the imagery and I'm going, it doesn't really sing to me, and it doesn't really, I don't know, it's a bit weird. But the minute it went out of print, I was like, oh, I'm regretting my decision. And then a unboxed copy came about, and I could have got an unboxed copy with the guidebook, and I missed out on it. And I'm so gutted, because now they're going for silly prices on eBay. And you can get I think you can get the app for it or something, and you can get the cards from that. But I think I'd want it in my hands, and I want Everybody Goes about the book being really, really good. So I wanted to kind of read the book, and I know you could probably again read the book. I might read the book on try and see if I can get it online, just so I can still read the book. But I would like the cards as well, because cheesy 90s gothic. Yeah, really, I should have bought it when I had the chance, and I didn't, and I hesitated, and now I'm like constantly looking on eBay to see if somebody's got a reasonable price copy that I can get. But hey ho, I'm just gonna have to take that as a loss. Now, the next tag is the card that sums up your year. Now, this has definitely been one that's lived up to the year of the snake. Lots of shedding, lots of moving on to new things, getting rid of some old things. And I would say, and quite a few people have said this in the tarot community, but the card that sums up my year is the Tower. I've had I left my job of 22 years. So, and it was a fortunate situation that came about to enable me to do it. But then when I did it, that sprung in so much chaos after it, and lots of testing my stability and my kind of lack mindset and everything. I've had friends that have come into my life, and then unfortunately things have happened and I've had to put in boundaries and kind of move away from. I've got beautiful friends that have come into my life and will be staying, but there's been a lot of chaos and a lot of the rug being swept up from under me, and a lot of kind of shadow work, and it's really, really accelerated this year. And I picked this one from the Vlad Dracula tarot. So I love the backs of these because I love the fact that she's jumping out of the tower. So I like that definition that I did decide to leave my job. Fortunately, my husband was offered a full-time position, and it meant that I would be able to look after the kids. But that has triggered a lot of things, kind of snowballs rolling, a lot of things kind of coming out. Or a lot of things that have happened. Unfortunately, we had a massive loss in May, which we are still recovering from. It was my beautiful mother-in-law, who was very much like a mother figure to me as well. So it's been a tough year. It's been a really, really tough year, and it's not stopped. I was going to put the Ten of Swords as well, because I've been getting the Ten of Swords like over and over again for the past couple of weeks. Like, I think there's been still a lot of sadness and a lot of things that have kind of they've been having to work through, and it's not 2025 has not been all the moonlight and roses it's kind of cracked up to be. It has had its amazing things, it has had its beautiful moments, it has been really prosperous, and it's been really good, but there's been a lot of pain kind of going at the side of this. So, that is the tower. The tower is coming in to shake things, to bring new things in, to build new empires, but also it hurts like hell. It's like a Jenga toppling on your head. It hurts. So, and I had a massive dream where I literally had the tower collapsing and me trying to hold it up in my dream. So the tower has been haunting me all the way throughout the year. So this is the card that sums up my year. Now, the penultimate tag is your tarot practice reflections. So as I've previously said, it's been a really, really big year for me. I'm going to flip through the Shadowscapes tarot or Dreamscapes tarot. I'm not sure I will put the correct one in the thing. I'm just flipping through this. This is a deck that I'm considering getting rid of. It's definitely in purgatory at the moment. It's well and truly in purgatory, and I got this at the beginning of the year and I've hardly used it. I am going to give it, a good, you can see it's all in the wrong order. I am going to give it a good try before I let go of it. So I am going to give it a month of doing like daily pulls or things like that. I might be doing that. I think I might do that like in January to see. But the artwork is stunning. The artwork is beautiful. I just think there's so much going on in the card. My neurodivergent brain can't cope with it. I am going to get a magnifying glass. I've kind of put one on order in my box. But there's just something about this deck that doesn't really speak to me. That's why it's kind of going in purgatory. It does and it doesn't. So I'm going to flip through these, but this is not about this deck. This is about reflecting. This has been a big year for me. I have done so much reading this year in terms of actual reading as well, learning more about the tarot, but also I've designed my own like tarot course. I've read for hundreds and hundreds of people, done hundreds of readings on TikTok. Like, this year has been a big year for me, and I was reading lots for others, and I was giving all of my time to other people. I mean, I do love this for the death card. I was giving lots of time to other people and doing readings for them. And then the second half of the year, the priority has shifted. I've going up to, I think, June, July. July, I did a massive in-person event. I read for 17 people in the day. It was a lot, and then I just lost my steam. I stopped doing as many readings. I have put the brakes on, and I've realized that I've had to put the brakes on for me in order for me to get back into reading for myself and for journaling and doing the work on myself rather than doing the work for others. It's brilliant being able to help others and heal others and, you know, help others through their journey. But if you're not looking after yourself, if you're not, you know, pulling the cards and introspecting, and when I pull cards, I don't pull cards to know the future. I don't want to know what's going to happen in a situation. If something happens, I kind of let the universe I'll say the universe will have its way of, you know, thinking in my best interests. I tend to pull it in, what do I need to know, more of a reflective journaling type way. And I've realized that I'm gonna have to do more of that in 2026. There's been a few things that have popped up that I am gonna change. I was, you know, pushing myself to go online to read for people who sometimes they didn't care about getting a reading from me or anything like that. And I'm going to be honest, and I was pushing it because I thought that that's the way he was doing it. At the beginning of the year, I was giving away free readings on TikTok, something I would, you know, any advice going on, you know, and doing readings and things like that on TikTok and stuff like that. Like, obviously be aware, there are a lot of people that will try and get a free reading from you. And I do, you know, free one cards and stuff, but I don't answer questions now and stuff like that because it's an energy exchange, and I was giving too much of my energy away for free or giving it not plowing it into myself. So this year there's been a lot of reflective practice. I'm now at the point where I won't get a lot of, you know, I won't get any private readings through, or I won't, you know, if I want to read for other people, I do have to go on kind of TikTok for it. But I'm okay about that. I'll just read for myself. I'll look at the beautiful tarot cards, you know, and do that, because looking after myself, I think at the moment is going to be a priority, I think, this year. And learning as well. I jumped in, and don't get me wrong, I've been reading tarot cards. You know, I started reading tarot cards 19 years ago. I have a lot of years of experience with them, but I do think that I jumped in this year kind of full force with too much energy and tried to push, and things didn't happen. And then the universe went, hey, slow down. You know, just as the Seven of Swords comes up, hey, slow down, you know, that imposter syndrome, that's why you're doing it. You're pushing and pushing and pushing because of other people's, you know, what you think other people's expectations of you are. It's yeah, it was a lot. And having a dynamic disability as well, there are times when my brain is not at the point where I can read. So I have to just play it, and if and when I'm able to, I will read, and that's okay, because tarot for me is more about, you know, the journey and learning about yourself, so much than, you know, making a business or making a fortune out of it, or, you know, even helping others. I've spent 22 years helping, you know, the youth of tomorrow, because I was a teacher, helping the youth of tomorrow. At the moment, I'm giving, selfishly, I feel like I'm giving that time to myself. So my practice has really changed from, you know, the beginning of the year wanting to go online every day, wanting to read every day. I think I did from the 28th of December. I think I read every day until I went back to work, and that was a lot of energy. And now I'm very wary of the energy that it takes to do the readings and to do these things. So sometimes I've got to choose, I can't do it. So yeah, it's been a big massive learning year. Just Queen of Wands comes out. This has been a card popping up a lot, giving me a kick at the moment. There's been a lot going on, and a bit of, you know, am I doing it for myself, or am I doing it because people expect me to? A lot of learning going on. The last prompt in this end of year tarot tag is to pull a card for the next year and a deck that I'm looking forward to working with in 2026. Now, I'm going to keep the this tarot out, either the Dreamscapes or the Shadowscapes. I cannot remember the name. My brain fog, my dynamic disability really gives me brain fog a lot of the time, so that's why you'll have to excuse me. I will put the name in the bottom, but I'm gonna pick a card. Okay, two have come up. I tend to shuffle my Queen of Cups and Judgment. So I think that's quite apt. Queen of Cups, nurturing yourself, nurturing your own emotions, emotional stability, emotional calm, emotional quiet, but not being the, you know, in reverse way where you're giving too much to people, having that balance, having that give and take. The fact that, you know, I can see that kind of, it's a balancing act there. And then we've got the Judgment card. So shedding the judgment of others, doing the things that I want to do, doing it not because other people demand, I think other people demand it of me, other people want it of me, or other people are kind of doing it, and I feel like as well, the Judgment is putting boundaries in on myself as well. There's been quite a few boundaries that have been crossed this year, and I've had to respond to them, but I've usually had to respond to them before it was too late. You know, not respond to before it was too late, it was too late. So now I feel like them boundaries need to kind of go in before the carnage happens, before the tower happens, like seeing the warning signs, seeing the red flags and saying, oh no, I'm stepping back, or I'm doing this or whatever. And I think that's more that will help me be in a position this year where I'm not worrying back and going, well, what did I do? You know, rather than noticing the, you know, the boundaries or the red flags and going, oh, well, maybe I do need to act on this and stuff. I perhaps this year waited a bit too long. So yeah, moving on with, you know, judging myself to be worthy, definitely judging myself to be worthy, moving on into 2026. And then a deck that I am super excited to be working with this year is, and I'm just gonna do a little bit of a drum roll, is the Insomnia Tarot. This has been a deck that since I started watching Tarot Tube, so since I kind of started collecting decks, because 19 years ago when I was reading tarot, I had a couple of decks and that was it. I had a gap, and then I've come back in and gone, right, I'm going to collect these decks because I love them. And this has always been one that's really intrigued me, and it's been one of them ones that I really wanted. And then Cheryl at Oneness Emporium got it in her shop, and I was like, yes, I've got to buy it. I've got to buy it for my Christmas present. And this is Insomnia Tarot by Nicholas Bruno. It is absolutely, like, it is such an intriguing deck. And look at the beautiful, like, gilding. You have the book, because you used to on the indie, you used to have to buy the book separately, but you've got the book there, and yeah, it's small, but I can use a magnifying glass when I want to read up on it. And the beautiful stunning cards there. Now you can see the back. Now I haven't opened it, so I'm gonna open it on camera. I'm just gonna be very, people probably screaming like, don't put the scissors to the cards. I'm gonna open this on camera. So let's take look at that. So this is such a beautiful deck, and the faces are so, like, the fact that it's faceless gives it such a vibe that, you know, this is my first real photography deck, and it's just amazing. It's going to be so good for pulls and doing it, you know, doing my daily draws and really thinking about, like, look at that justice. It's such a beautiful deck. So this is the Somnia Tarot by Nicholas Bruno. It is a deck that I'm so excited to be working with in 2026. I also have the Trionfe del Luna to come, so watch this space for unboxings of that and reviews along with the Somnia Tarot. And I'm just having to reach up, the Bone Stone and Earth Flesh Tarot by Avalon Cameron with art by Anna Torian, who is again one of my favorite artists. It's beautiful. I love the watercoloriness of this. So watch this space in 2026 when I will be doing some unboxing videos and working with. I've got some challenges I'm gonna do. I'm thinking of doing a challenge I've seen here on the community in TarotTube, where you do a reading a day with a deck a day. So you do, you know, say you have 36 tarot decks in your collection, you do 36 tarot decks in 36 days. I'm thinking of doing that, so that's going to be good. So I think it's going to be over 40, where I can really kind of look at all my tarot decks while I've still got a relatively small sum. I'm running out of space at the moment, so I'm going to have to remove everything in order to fit more decks in. But I might have a break for a bit with buying decks, because I've bought quite a few decks recently, and I think I've got some coming in because it's my birthday at the beginning of January. I've got some coming in there as well, so got a few more coming in. There will be maybe a break in between, but yeah. So I've absolutely adored doing this tag. I've absolutely loved it. Thank you, Chanel Days, for creating this tag. It is a wonderful one, and I will link her video in the description as well. Thank you, everyone. And again, I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye, Moonbeams.